everyone, this is part 3 of a series where I review some backlog games I finished in 2025. If you've missed the first 2 videos, be sure to check it out here, and there will be a link below. All gamers have a library of shame, a bunch of games that were started and never finished, or ones never touched at all. In this series, I go over the games I finished in 2025 on my backlog list. I'm going in alphabetic order and review each game on price, length, story, gameplay, aesthetic, overall enjoyment, and if I would recommend them. Bonus point if you can pet a creature. I'll do my best to avoid any spoilers and will mark them appropriately so you can skip them. Please be aware that I purchased most of these games at a sale price and none were gifted to me from the creators. These are my honest reviews, and I hope this video inspires you to save some money and play some games you already have. Beacon Pines is our first game in this list. In this game, you are a little deer kid living in a very rural town that has a dark secret. Can you achieve a happy ending as you uncover the mysteries in this seemingly quiet town? This game plays as an interactive storybook. The game reminded me of Mad Libs. You collect adjectives by exploring the town and alternate endings, and you could use what you find to change the outcome of key points in the story. There are several dead ends to the story and one true ending to uncover. This game took me about 4 hours to unlock everything, and it was an easy, non-committal game to play. There was great character design. The anthropomorphic characters were cute and well detailed. The story had a lot of twists right from the beginning that I was not expecting. It gets wild, y'all. The gameplay is very simplistic. It is more of an interactive storybook. Like if you were to combine the Leapfrog reading pad with Mad Libs. It was fun to see how the story unfolds. The base price is too high at $19.99. I would wait for a sale for this one. Overall, it was a fun time, perhaps a little too short for what I was hoping to get out of this. But I would play more games like this. I am such a sucker for true ending games. This is my review for Beacon Pines. Crab God is our next game. Crab God is everything and more that I knew I wanted from a game. You are a dying crab god, and you're trying to hatch your successor. The catch is, the egg will only hatch at the bottom of the sea. So you have to use your ragtag team of a couple little crablings to start the journey. But don't worry, you can collect more of a following as you go throughout the game. In order to migrate to the lower levels of the ocean, you have to have a certain amount of food stores, and this amount will increase with each level. Did I mention that this game is a roguelike base building survival game? There are invasive creatures that will try to attack you at night, so you have to balance and manage your crabs to collect food, worship you, defend the egg, grow coral and aquatic plants to attract aquatic life that will help defend you, or drop food bits to collect. This game also has real-world impact. The creators of the game run campaigns that allow players to choose which environmental charity to donate to, helping our real-life oceans. There's also the classic roguelike RNG. After each successful level, your little crabs level up and you can unlock special abilities for them. And there are also shrines that you can unlock where you get a buff for your base that lasts the entire run. The crabs are super cute and cartoony, and you can personalize each one. The invasive animals are spooky with a touch of realism, and the beneficial creatures are realistic. The game loop is addicting, and I consider this game complete when I was able to hatch my new crab god successfully, which took me about 2 runs, which was a total of 7 hours. There's a ton of replayability, and I'll definitely come back to this one. I really enjoyed this game overall. I just wish I could pet the little crab guys. They work so hard. I recommend this one if you enjoy aquatic life and management sim. The base price is $19.99, which can be worth it if you're planning on playing this one often. But remember, the more you participate in this game, the more real-world impact you have. But this game is also on sale here and there. This is my review for Crab God. Phogs is a really fun co-op physics puzzle game with a dedicated bark button. You are 2 dogs in 1. Think of that old show Cat Dog, but instead, it's Dog Dog. You can stretch, bounce, and grab onto things with your mouth, and you have to work together to solve puzzles in every level of the game. Each person controls one head of the dog, so you really do need to work together. There are 4 themed levels: a sleepy time world, a food themed world, and a world of play. The final level is only unlocked after besting the bosses in each world for your doggy bed, ball, and bone. I highly recommend playing this game with a friend. I was wheezing and crying from laughter when I played this game with my long distance best friend. We had so much fun. The graphics are colorful and cute. You can unlock hats for your dogs to wear. I remember thinking the sound effects were fun in this game as well. This game just felt so unique and whimsical. I would recommend it if you need a good laugh. I would consider it a cozy game. It is really forgiving, and there is no dying if you fall off a platform. You simply teleport right back to where you were. This game took us about 10 hours to beat, and the base price is $24.99. I got it at a sale price, and I think it's best to wait for a sale to purchase it, since each person has to buy their own copy in order to play together. I really enjoyed this game, and I was surprised I haven't heard anyone mention this one before. Honestly, I can't remember if someone pets you as the dog in the game. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is the review. Pokemon Legends ZA. I played the Switch 2 edition, and I have a lot of opinions about this game. First, I was really excited about a new Legends-style Pokemon game to come out. I love Legends Arceus, and it was still one of my favorite Pokemon games to this day. Legends ZA showed that Totodile, my favorite Pokemon, was in this game, and I was stoked to adventure with him again. However, this game lacked the aspects of Pokemon games that I love. I loved exploring nature, I loved seeing Pokemon in their own environments, I love having what felt like a large-scale adventure and really one-on-one interactions with your Pokemon. I am very sad they did not have Pokemon-Ami when Legends ZA is a game that took place in the region that introduced it originally. This game focused very heavily on the battling aspect and Mega Evolution, and you are confined to a single city for a whole game. After a short while, there isn't anything left to explore, and in a way, this game reflected how I feel about my hometown in Florida. Growing up, there's a lot of green spaces to explore, farms, groves, parks, trails. But one of the many reasons I left Florida was because it felt like in my hometown, every green space left was getting developed. And the citizens in Pokemon Legends ZA that were getting annoyed with the wild areas and Pokemon in the city reflected the people moving into these newly developed places in Florida and getting annoyed that coyotes and foxes and other wildlife were present in their neighborhoods when these critters were here first and now they have nowhere to go. Every time I played this game, I had this sadness in the back of my mind where I felt like I was reminded of what's going on in the real world. On a different note, the battling being real time was a lot of fun, but the amount of battles you had to do was a gargantuan task in order to get the shiny charm. And after a while, it kind of turned into a very boring grind for me. The Rogue Mega Evolution battles were fun and sometimes challenging at times, but not to the point where I wiped to any of them. I really enjoyed Mega Evolved's Starmie. That one cracked me up so much. I am honestly on the mindset that I would rather have a new Pokemon or regional form than Mega Evolutions. I was never really attached or interested in this mechanic, especially since in the Alola region, a lot of Pokédex entries talk about how painful the Mega Evolution is to the Pokemon. The story is pretty basic for a Pokemon game. You show up as the new kid in town, you get a starter, and for some reason, you're exceptional at battling, and only you can save the city from rogue evolutions. The graphics are an improvement for a Pokemon game, especially compared to the other Legends game. I played the Switch 2 version and it ran smoothly and looked fine for me. I loved the character designs and that each character introduced were involved in several aspects of the story. I loved playing around with dressing up my character and the fashion was a lot of fun. The music, of course, is a bop. I think that the lack of voice acting at this point in the franchise is inexcusable. They definitely have the money for it. I am tired of cutscenes that are supposed to be emotional, being awkward because there's no voices. Overall, I had fun in the game, but Pokemon can do better. It took me about 50 hours to beat the story, and then I've just been doing AFK shiny hunting from time to time. This game does have a paid DLC, which is always its own can of worms in the Pokemon community. I bought this game at full price for the Switch 2 version, which is $69.99. This game will likely never be on sale. I do not think this game is worth the base price. Legends Arceus had a free update and it was a more affordable game. I really feel like Pokemon is testing how much their fans are willing to spend from FOMO on DLCs. You cannot pet your Pokemon, but you can take pictures with them, go to cafes with them, break rocks, and battle. Interactions with them are very limited. It may sound like I'm judging them too harshly, but Pokemon has been around for a very long time. It feels like 2 steps forward, 1 step back constantly with this franchise. They have such dedicated fans, but I feel like we're being taken advantage of time and time again. Their merchandising is so expensive because they know people will pay the price, but really you're buying because of the brand name and not because of the good quality. For example, take the Sitting Cutie collection. They were originally released at $11. The whole idea of them was an affordable plush of every Pokemon so someone can finally collect their niche favorite Pokemon in plushie form. But now they're $17. Not just the new ones. They changed the price on the older generations that were originally $11 as well. Now you might as well get a larger plush than spend $20 on a 6-inch plush. They've lost sight of the reason they made the Sitting Cutie collection in the first place. My point being is that Pokemon has the money to make a $70 quality game, but they don't. They cut corners and leave gameplay locked behind DLC for another $30 because they know fans will buy it. It honestly feels like there's more to do in the original X and Y game than there is in ZA. And we know that content was cut from X and Y. I know a part of the problem is that the developers are forced on a strict time crunch that isn't realistic anymore with today's advanced technology. I think all Pokemon fans are willing to wait a little longer for a game of higher quality. It has gotten to the point where I'm starting to lose my passion for Pokemon, a franchise I have been playing for as long as I've been able to hold a Game Boy, and it makes me really sad to realize this. Does anyone else feel this way? Anyway, I feel like I could make an entire video rant about this, but for now, here's my review. And comment below if you would like to see a video rant about Pokemon, because I will totally do that. PolyPine is a calming, cozy forest simulator game. You start off with a blank grass field. As you earn points, you can plant seeds and introduce animals into your habitat. Some plants and animals have certain requirements to be unlocked, like wolves needing a certain amount of deer present before being introduced. Performing certain actions will generate more points to spend, such as hunting or dropping seeds. There is a campaign mode that lets you explore building different specific habitats, such as wetlands. There's also a sandbox mode where you can let your creative juices flow. To beat the campaign mode, it took me about 3.5 hours, but there's still a lot of side stuff I could do. I foresee myself coming back to this game when I need to relax. The graphics are simple and polygonal. The music is calming. Most of the gameplay is clicking on animals and trees, so it's not super involved. There isn't a scripted story, but you can make your own stories within the game based on how you play. You cannot pet your animals, but you can click on them to make them poop, so I'll give a half point for that. The base price is $8.99, which is fair, but it is on sale quite often. You can tell someone who is passionate about nature made this game because it showcases the delicate balance ecosystems have. If you're fascinated by nature as I am, you should play this game. Here is the review. Potion Permit. This is a cozy role-playing game where you play as an alchemist and you come to a town of need. This town happens to hate alchemists. This is because of the environmental damage that other chemists have done to the town in the past. But the mayor of the town was so desperate to save his daughter when the local mage was unable to cure her. So he brings you on board. In this game, you gather resources, diagnose patients, and cure them by crafting a potion. You also work to right the wrongs of the past by restoring the environment. Of course, you can romance multiple villagers as well. I like that this game has you start with the locals having a negative opinion about you. It makes it quite the challenge to get on everyone's good side. The town feels full, There's over 30 different villagers to get to know, though I feel like some of their personalities are bland. Similar to farming games, you have a stamina bar that empties as you collect resources. Once it is empty, you can spend your time doing side quests for the locals or craft potions. When you craft a potion, you play a Tetris-like mini-game where you fit the required ingredients in a specific shape, kind of like the pieces of a puzzle. You can play around with different components of a potion to see what is the most effective way to craft it. You also play a couple basic and honestly repetitive mini games to diagnose people. And I think this is my biggest issue with the game. It is such a crazy grind to progress, and it's super repetitive. You have to collect a lot of wood and stone and money to unlock the next area of the woods to explore, and then get a lot of different resources to grind the next area, and so on. After a while, I feel like all I did in this game was chop down trees. When I did beat the game, I feel like there wasn't a lot of payoff. I did like that as I worked hard to build my relationships with the town was inspired to also work hard and remodel different areas of the town. It even helped fix up my terrible falling apart house. You do have a dog in the game that you can pet and name. This dog isn't super helpful. Sometimes he'll dig up cooking ingredients, and he can sniff out different townsfolk for you, but he gets kind of annoying after a while. If you don't feed him once a day, he whimpers and drags himself next to you. While sad at first, when you're knee-deep in the tree gathering grind, it slows you down to look for food for him. I feel like it would have been better to have the option to leave him at home when making a quick trip to the woods for 250 pieces of lumber. This game took me about 20 hours to beat, and it's $19.99 at base price. If you're interested in this game, it's most worthwhile to wait for a sale. The graphic design is super cute, and I love the intricate 2D pixel art style. The story was interesting in concept, but I feel like it was poorly executed. I think that the developers made ridiculous requirements in order to advance the story simply because they're trying to pad gameplay. I feel like half of my time I was playing was solely focused on resource gathering. Overall, I enjoyed the game in the beginning, but towards the end it felt like a chore. I was stubborn on beating it, but I should have honestly dropped this game. Here is my review. From this list, I would definitely recommend Crab God and Phogs. Those were an absolute blast to play, but I would probably wait for a sale price for both. I am definitely going to revisit them in the future. Comment below if you agree or disagree with my review. Do you have any games that you would recommend I play? If you want to see more content like this, be sure to like and subscribe. We also have a Discord where you can vote on what games you would like to see us stream or finish next, and a TikTok channel where you can see what we are up to on a daily basis. I post our cute pets there quite often. Links to all these platforms will be listed in the description below. See you next time!